put their life on the line to help protect us, and we want to give a warm Washington welcome to the El Dorado Fire Department.
My name is Firefighter Thompson, and I'm here to help you with all of your home safety needs when it comes to fire, safety, and prevention. A lot of you guys are young adults, and you're going to get into things like cooking, you're going to get into cleaning, and some of you may do nothing. But eventually, I want you guys to be able to use these appliances in a safe manner that prevents accidents. You're going to have roles and responsibilities, and one of those is fire safety in the first place. We don't want a small flame to start becoming a big flame. So fire can escalate really fast. If we're not paying attention to it 100% of the time, and we're not around it, it can become a lot bigger. And once I start getting called and involved, then we start having a problem. So if you've ever cooked on a pan, you know that there are certain situations where if you're using grease or oil, it can heat up to a point where we're going to have a fire going. And sometimes the easiest way to put it out is to know how fire works in the first place. Do you think that fire is still going? It's out. I didn't have to use any kind of water. I didn't have to panic. I didn't have to jump around and scream, fire, fire, fire. It was small and we were able to deal with it in a safe and effective manner. Now, why is it that this fire went out? Can anybody tell me? You in the blue shirt. Yes, fire needs oxygen. That's a big part of the fire triangle. We call it a triangle because there's three things that fires need. Sorry, I can't use my fingers there. Three things that fires need in order to stay alive. It needs heat, it needs fuel, and it needs air. Now, what are the three things that fire needs? Go ahead and tell me. Heat. Well done, you guys are so smart, you did it. Now, if I can get some matches over here, we're going to demonstrate all three of these. All right, I want to show you guys the three different parts of the triangle. All right, the first one, what does fire need? Heat. Yes, fire needs heat. So what happens if we take away the heat from it? Bingo! So smart. All right, on my go, Firefighter Brown, I want you to put it out. Ready, set, go! Okay, that was kind of easy, right? If we have the right tools, we can put the fire out. Now I want to see how smart you guys really are. What was the second thing that a fire needs to put out? Fuel. It needs fuel, that's right. All right, Brown, come on, I need it. You can't start a fire without the fuel. If the fire doesn't have anything to grab in the first place, it can't get big. But sometimes the simplest solution, when we don't have any water on our hands or anything else, is to just cover up the fire. Because what does it need to survive? Oxygen. If we take out the oxygen, it can't go anymore. You guys are so smart. If I can have some volunteers, we're going to have you guys be some firefighters. This may take another second. All right, firefighter Ken. I don't actually know how to use those very well. All right, volunteers, I need you to help me make a cake. We have all of our utensils right here. Come on up, come on up, come on up. I need help. All right, I want you to pour in the milk. I want you to pour in the chocolate. It's very important that he pours in the milk first. Go ahead, I'll get the flour. Just some. 8, that'll work. We don't want too much, otherwise it'll be too much. I don't like milk cake. Go ahead, pour in the chocolate, quick, before the milk curdles. Perfect. Little bit of flour. Just kidding, we put in a lot. A lot. And done. Pinch of salt. We don't need salt, it's fine. We don't want salty cakes. Oh. We got the egg. We're golden. All right. That's a lot of egg. I'm going to have to deal with that all day. I'm going to have cooked egg on my face in the house fire. That is fine. We have made a lovely cake. Now let's put it in. Volunteers, will you open up the said oven? Be swift. I have a lot of egg on my helmet. I'd rather get it off as soon as possible. And close the oven. Thank you, my volunteers. Okay, I've got a lot of egg on my head. Just gonna wipe this off on my shirt. Call it a day. I know. So how many of you guys have seen this? Everybody's seen an extension cord. How many of you guys leave it out, plug up your phone, plug up all of your laptops, all of your gadgets, all of your Google Chromes, everything into one slot? Who does that? Stop it! Stop doing that! This is one of the #1 causes of house fires, overusing these plugs. Not to mention just getting shocked in the first place, which we want to avoid. We want to avoid using these frail little cables. Who knows what a surge protector is? Everybody, all right. We want a big surge protector with big wires that can't get damaged. If you have to plug in a couple of things, go ahead and use one of these. But don't make an extension cord your permanent use. When you're done with it, unplug it. Now, how many of you guys have a space heater? It's starting to get really cold. A space heater keeps the room really warm. And if we're not careful with it, let's go ahead and pretend that this is our space heater. If we cover it with a jacket or something that might catch on fire, the whole place can go up. One of the #1 things that goes on fire in the wintertime is space heaters. People put things around it. They'll put blankets, sheets, paper, gasoline for some reason. They like starting house fires, and we can stop it as long as we treat it like a candle and we don't put any kind of fuel sources near it. Because what do fires need to grow big? Fuel, yes they do. And what do space heaters have? They have heat. So if we're very careful and we're very smart with some of the applications that we use, we can prevent a fire from ever happening. Let's go back over to the oven. Who here is going to the grease pan? Not many people, and that's okay. But eventually you're going to want a nice pan-seared steak. You're going to get smart. You're going to become this culinary master. I want you to pay attention to it the whole time. We need to figure out just a couple of things to stay safe. Like using the handle from being in this position where we plop it over. That's not good. Because what happens if it's on fire and we plop it over? The whole place burns down. Be sure to keep the handle away from the end. Whenever we're cooking with the oven, do we always stand there and look at the oven? No! Sometimes we'll go and watch TV, but we have to remember that it's on. If we have our oven mitt, we try to don't have a firefighter mitt, but that works too. If we bring our oven mitt with us wherever we go to remind us that the oven is on, we're a lot less likely to forget. And me personally, I forget a lot, but that's all right. When it comes to the oven, just make sure that you don't have anything flammable around it. You don't keep anything like oven mitts in the bottom because you could start a fire. And that's one of the #1, I know a lot of things are #1, but this is serious. That's one of the #1 causes of these big fires. some of these safely, and we know with the microwave we don't put in foil or metal or anything like that. I want you guys to know what happens when we have a little fire that becomes a big fire. Once it starts becoming my size, it's not your problem anymore. I don't want you guys trying to deal with it. That's my job, it's what I get paid for. Let me tackle the big stuff. But when that happens, you need to know how to 1, get attention. 2, get out of there. 3, meet up somewhere safe. Now what's the first thing that we do? Get attention. Yes, we say fire, fire, fire. And believe me, that gets people's attention. Once the fire starts happening, who here seen a campfire? What happens to the heat? What happens to the fire? Where does it go? It goes up. Very smart. What happens once it hits the roof? It goes down. Yes, so what happens when we're trying to get out of the big fire? It's really hot up here, right? We drop down, get low, and get out of there. Before a fire ever happens, we need to have some kind of escape plan. We need to have a way to get out of the house at least 2 ways. So talk with your family about that, and eventually, if an accident does happen, and I do get called to it, you will be safe, and that will be a lot more attention that I can spend on putting the fire out and taking care of the things that you love. So we have get attention. What's the next thing? Get low. Get out. Once it starts getting hot, this is where your cool air is. All that heat starts crushing down on you. So I don't care if you look goofy while it's air dry. Get out of there and get towards the exit. So you've gotten attention. You've gotten down low. What's the third thing that we do? Does anyone remember? Yes, so we're safe. Once we go out there, we don't want everyone looking around. Because once they call the fire department, the first thing they say is, "My kid, he's still stuck in there." And you're over there by the mailbox, just waiting and saying, "No, I'm not. I'm fine." We want firefighters to focus on the fire and make sure that everyone is safe ahead of time. So I want you to talk with your family and talk about a place to meet up after the fire. A mailbox is a very good idea. But sometimes the mailbox is like a mile down from people's houses. Or maybe it's so close to the house that it gets really hot. Have a safe place to meet up so no one has to worry too much about you. All right, kids, I thank you so much for all of your attention. You've been a very wonderful audience. And now we only have one thing left to do. We show our wonderful cake. Is it ready? Yeah. All right. Volunteers, will you open it up? Okay. What a wonderful job. Amazing cooks. Very, very